Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, to find yourself or your true self, you gotta learn to sit with yourself. That would be the genuine start. You're sitting with yourself without adding any layers in your mind. Sitting as a blank canvas. You're not inviting any spiritual references in your sitting. You're not inviting your meditation techniques. None of those layers when you're sitting. That way you can make yourself as a focal point. This is very important for the real inward journey. Because the journey is about figuring out the truth. And this journey is about taking out all the layers so we can move towards the plain sight truth. And when you add layers, what happens, that layer itself becomes a distraction. Because any layer you add in your inward journey, that layer will provide you experience. And when you start to gather experience, when you go through the experience, it's so easy to get distracted. Just reflect in your own life. If you have been part of the meditation practice, haven't you received enough experience from your meditation world? Yes, you have. And because of that, now you're conditioned to that. You have a hard time letting go of that. You have forgotten the reference of the spiritual path. The spiritual path is about letting go, not attaching to the spiritual layers. When we condition ourselves with the spiritual layers, that becomes the hardest layers to let go. So we have to have the reference, a reminder that the practice, the spiritual practice, is about letting go of everything, including the spiritual layers. So we forget and we attach to those things. Now we can change the gear and sit with nothing. So we can make ourselves the focal point, the focus. And we can work on ourselves, to investigate, to figure out the truth. Now, when you are conditioned to your spiritual practices, sitting with yourself is tough, isn't it? You're so used to make something as a focal point, sitting with emptiness. It's tough. In the beginning, yes, you might have the intention to sit with nothing, but at some point, you start to feel bored. You start to feel the itch. You start to, become uncomfortable in your own skin, isn't it? Especially when you are new to inward journey, sitting with nothing, you start to feel a lot of stuff. Unease, weird, strange. There's several names for that. And that's the reason we bounce back to the outward journey. Even the people who have been part of the spiritual path, and if their journey is about focusing on something, even those practitioners will struggle. But that is the phase we have to go through. Not everybody is perfect to sit with nothing. It's very hard to sit with nothing. Our life is conditioned with something, always something. We're focusing on something, and then we're trying to create something out of that starting point. And when your life is conditioned in that way, being part of the opposite flow is a struggle. Now, this is a good thing, good start when you see the struggle. Because that would be the point where you can process your struggle, where you can start investigating your struggle. Whatever feeling comes in, we can look into that. Whatever ideas, thoughts resurface, we can look into that. Whatever experience resurface when you're sitting nothing, that's the perfect start. We gotta utilize that to create an inward journey. So for example, you're sitting with nothing. I'm asking you to sit with nothing. And you're trying. Now you feel unease sitting with nothing. Let's take that as an example. Now, you're feeling unease. Now ask yourself, why am I feeling unease? To sit with myself. Why I have this feeling of unease? Definitely there's a reason for that. And I already mentioned, because your life is conditioned to the outward journey, or to have something as a focus, but you're not having all those now. That's why you're struggling. But if you sit with the unease, and if you really investigate, you start to see a lot of layers for your being uncomfortable. Right now you only see the surface layer of being uncomfortable. Investigating is the way to see the deeper layers, the wave of the mind, the ego created world will be revealed for you. But to get there, we have to sit with ourselves and investigate. This is the one thing that is missed out from the spiritual practice. And you can see that, isn't it, in your life? What you have done in the past in the name of spirituality is sitting with yourself with something and making that as a focal point, and you have collect, tremendous numbers of spiritual experiences. And your life shifted from scattered self to more focused self. You are more focused now. You're more confident now. You're not lost in the things that you do. See, any spiritual practice can make you more focused, more confident. You see the positive result. But we want to go beyond that, beyond the duality, beyond just the surface improvement. We want to figure out the truth, the inner truth, the unchanging truth, the unchanging freedom. And for that, when you do, let go. We need to let go the layers in us, and we need to sit with ourselves without layers. Now, mentioned that when you sit with yourself, there's an unease. You ask yourself, why am I feeling unease when I'm sitting without nothing? Now, this is one of the examples we're working on, but you can also work on whatever scenarios comes in later when you're sitting with nothing. Okay, you can utilize that and follow the thread backward on your experience, on your feeling, on your thoughts. So when you feel unease, you trace it back. Why am I feeling unease? When you ask why, there should be the answer for your unease. Now, whatever answer comes first, now use that answer to deepen the inward journey by asking yourself, why am I associating with this answer? Why this answer is important? So when you ask why second time, there will be another answer. Because something. What is that something? As an idea in your head. Now when you see this second answer from the why, now use the second answer in the same way. Why is that important? Why do I have this? So this is a simple way to trace the mind. This is the way to, involve in the process to figure out the root cause of your unease. Now when you figure out the root by tracing your unease backward, your life is still happening from that, by the way, from the root, because you haven't uprooted the root yet. So root is still there. Your life is happening from this root. That means you are attached to that root. That root is giving you some level of support. That means you're attached to it. Attachment is a sign of fear. Fear makes you attached to that root and prolong your perception and action from that root. So now we have to investigate further. Why am I attached to this root? So you started with your unease, you follow your unease backward, you figure out the root. Now, once you see the root, you ask yourself, why am I attached to this root? Why am I maintaining this root? Now that why, the same why, is going to take you further back now, until there's no more root is left, until you move towards the no mind. And that's the process, to go from uncomfortability, from the unease, to the root, and going all the way to no mind as no root. And this is just one scenario. Now, there are several friction you are experiencing every day, isn't it? Not just the friction, you can also look into your positive approach in your life. Your positive, layers are your preference. Your perception and your action to maintain that preference. You ask, why? So, if you don't see the friction, you see the positive attitude in you. So you can follow your positive attitude backward, or the friction that you're experiencing. You can use either one of those to follow and make a habit of going backward. And I'm saying that you always see something in your life, in your mind comes in, and that idea triggers you to do, to be part of something. So whenever you certain ideas in you, just follow it backward. And you have to, marinate in this process. You have to find the ease by being part of the backward journey, tracing the mind backward journey. And when you start to be thorough in the layers that you are heavily attached, and when you're able to go towards the no mind, you are preparing yourself. When you're thorough, when you're unbiased in tracing your mind backward, when you see the nature of the mind, your attachment by going backward, your fear by going backward, and you have dismantled your attachment fear in all aspects of your life, then when you ask yourself, who am I? Then that who am I is going to make you click to see the real you in you. Not as an ego layer, but you will see yourself without the layer, without the mind. And that is enlightenment, my friend. You are awakening to your true self. Or you are awakened to your true self. And enlightenment journey is about that. The truth journey is about that. Right now we have become the layers. Tracing back the layers of who we are right now is the way to go back to no layers. When there's no layers, and when you ask, you succeed in seeing the real you in you. So, again, to find yourself, your true self, you got to learn to sit with yourself without any layers, my friend. Because you are not the layers. If you add the layers when you're sitting to figure out who you are, that is already a wall you're putting in front of you. So don't add. Be okay with yourself without layers. Be okay with unease. Don't try to make yourself comfortable when you're sitting. If you're trying to make comfortable in a sitting, that already shows that you have listened to your ego. Your ego self has already come in to make you comfortable, to anchor in the known. The journey is about being okay with the unknown and going all the way back so we can really settle in the unknown. And many culture references that unknown as emptiness, void, death. It's the same thing. So make yourself as your focal point, not having anything in your mind, okay? And start the journey like that. Start your spiritual practice like that. And when you do that, yes, you're going to figure out the truth, but also you are sharpening your awareness in you. And while being part of the backward process, you'll start to see, real change in your life. So you can make things better outside while you creating the inward journey with sitting with nothing. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Hope this video makes sense to you. in some level. Yeah, thanks for watching this video. If you like what you're hearing, support this channel with your subscription by subscribing to this channel. Okay, take care for now. See you in the next video. Bye.